So welcome to the Node.js Node API team meeting for June 7th, 2024. We'll follow our standard approach of taking a look at the issues that were tagged for milestone 11. And before we do that, well, actually, as we do that, the first one, let's start with like anything new people would like to share. Okay, then I think I'll just sort of ask at the high level because I'm not sure. Like, is there anything people have to discuss about warning and printing the message on that be experimental, helping with SQLite
Are you sharing your screen?
coverage? I am not. Good point. Let me find this one. So yeah, is there anything we should discuss on like printing the message not be experimental, Node SQLite coverage, or debug testing for add-on?
I do have something related to debug testing for add-ons, but it's an
Okay,
issue in the Node add-on API repository.
right. Okay, let me find that one. Well, hopefully.
I
There we
created
go.
a new issue,
Yeah.
that first one there. Um, because I was working on the Node GC types and I had to
Yep.
create a debug version of Node in order to, test stuff. And the function reference test fails with whatever that
Okay.
debug is. Um, so I think, once we do end up getting the debug testing done, then we would just need to take a look into this.
Yeah, and if anything, maybe we should look at this sooner than later because I suspect this is telling us there's a problem that we didn't know about.
Okay.
Because let's see, where is our last? Maybe I'm looking at just going back in the stack to look for code, like our code to see.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do any real investigation in it, so
I'm just curious what's going, like what was run to do that? And the question is,
function reference. It does some stuff with async hooks, and maybe that might be an issue. Unclear. Async hooks, just like briefly looking at the test JavaScript.
right. I'm just looking like where is the first line of the Node API call?
This might be the return value check in Vid, so it might not reflect the actual Node API code.
Okay, so you think like if
Yeah, you
we're
can
returning,
see. Yeah, you can see the six stack frame that is API code result type. So it might be a code return type
oh,
check.
right, so right here,
Yeah.
no, that's an internal one, is API call result type.
So yeah, it definitely do a looking into it.
Yeah, okay,
I'll link this issue inside that
sure.
milestone just
Yeah.
so we keep track of it.
Yeah, if anything, it shows that it would be good to have debug testing on because reasonable likelihood this is an actual problem which we should investigate.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other things we should discuss related to some of those others?
Mhm.
If not, I'm gonna jump into stale issues. And I know there was this new one, which I guess we closed, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that ended up
the author
closed.
closed it, so we can
Yeah,
delete that.
okay. So I'm going to I think we deleted them.
Yeah, we usually,
I think we're deleting them.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Otherwise, it'll sort of build up forever.
Hmm.
We
There we go.
can
Okay.
create a new checking issue, right?
We could do that too. Yeah, like at some point, or I could delete the rest of them as well. Probably makes sense to just delete. Like, do we want to have a record of ones that went stale longer term or?
I don't
No
think
idea.
there's any benefit to it.
But I think, yeah, probably use some GitHub checking project so that we don't have to delete it, something. But yeah, at the moment, since we are using the issue to check it, I don't have any good solutions here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess if there was something that would like close the comment when the issue is closed or something, that might be helpful, but it doesn't seem like it's not a huge deal just going and looking and deleting them. So, but thanks for adding that one on. It was good we had the conversation and was able to close that one out. So I think that then takes us to looking at issues in add-on API.
I created the first PR there,
Mhm.
adding the support for no GC types.
Okay.
Um, I think I have some tasks there. Can we go ahead and
Yep.
take a look? Discuss an implementation name. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's it looks pretty good. I mean, all of the tests are passing. So I just like, some feedback. Since like some of the tests had to change in order to support these new types. Um, some of them were just simply changing it to the NoGC class. Others we had to separate into adding a post finalize because some of them do end up calling um, JavaScript. So, oh, I saw some stuff there that needs to be removed, but yeah, the implementation, like this line one idle stream, that was leftover testing. But yeah, the general implementation is complete. Um, so I think what would end up happening is if Gabe's is approved first, because I think that one is closer to being done. Because I'm reviewed Gabe's, and the only thing I see a problem is with one of the he modified the CI, and one of the CIs is not running anymore. Um, but once that's fixed, I guess his would go in, and then because like mine and his are very closely related, So like if we merge the his in first, then the this would end up making all of the finalizers run asynchronously. So basically, the existing behavior that occurred before we added the Node.js. And then
Right.
if we merge mine in, that would add the synchronous finalizers, which would require changes to people's code.
Okay, so basically you're ready to approve except just to remove that. Yeah,
Yeah, because the Windows CI didn't run.
right.
So we have to
Okay.
see, once that gets removed, does
Yeah.
the Windows CI actually pass? And then if it passes, I'd be good to approve it. Otherwise, we'd have to fix that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So basically we should review land this one. And then once that's done, and then yours is, I guess you need to add docs. Is that the,
Yeah, I have to add docs, remove some debug code or whatever, but the implementation is pretty much finished. So people can just, go ahead and start looking at the implementation as they see fit.
and is there any like naming you think might be more, like, was there anyone in particular you thought you wanted feedback on?
Um, yes, there was something that I had to change for reference. For the destructor here. Um, oh, so two things rather. So remember last week we talked about the object wrap destructor was calling node APIs, so that couldn't happen or whatever. I went with the approach of removing the reference inside the finalizer callback so that when the destructor runs, it does not run the node call. Um, and that was one of the approaches we discussed last week. So this 4940 line here,
Right,
remove the reference so that the destructor does not call node code.
right. So
Then,
basically this is saying like, hey, run the finalizer. We know that now it's finalized, so set the ref to null.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes. Then likewise on let's see, on line 3240, if we can go there. Yes. So a little up for this block here. Yep, right here.
Yeah,
The reference destructor also calls this NAPI delete reference. And I believe this change here is acceptable because if the reference is being deleted in the new way, so the synchronous deletion, we don't need to delete the reference because the reason why it's being deleted synchronously is because there are no more references. Gabe did not have to do any changes to his PR for this, so I'm a little confused as to why he didn't need it or why I need it. The reason why I had to add this code was because there was like the error class is a reference, and what was happening was when the error was being garbage collected and deleted, it was calling this delete reference.
right. But if it's garbage collected, it does need to delete the C side, right? Like if you've got a object, like the error object is like, that's like, if I remember correctly, that would be like a JavaScript object, or there'd be a wrapper around like somehow tied to it. And then
Mhm.
when it's GC, you do want to free the C level memory, which this would do.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to remember exactly where the the error was happening. Um, I'll have to temporarily remove this, run the test again, and then see exactly what test was failing. I think it was one of the object wraps or function things or something. But I remember looking in the stack trace that it was the error destructor which was then calling this destructor, which was then failing.
Right.
Uh,
I could see it being something like the previous problem where like
yeah,
we need to do something. Um, but like in some situation, maybe it's going to be trickier because of the no GC.
mhm. Yeah. So I'll I will probably ping Gabe too then, because
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
ping Gabe, see if he's
Like I
got
won't
any.
be surprised. Was it so, but you think it was in the GC flow versus somebody actually deleting the reference itself directly?
Yeah, somewhere in the tests, an error object was created and
Yeah.
then destructed or deleted, deleted and then called the destructor. And I'll have to, I can't remember exactly
Yeah.
what that.
Okay. Sure.
Mhm. But other than that, yeah, just we have and I think at the top of this file, or yeah, is it this one or nappy age? Oh, it's in an API.h actually. Um, this 283 to 292, I
Yep.
added some preprocessor definitions in order to utilize the correct types inside either our tests or, just around. So we could, if those are just what I called them, if anybody has any other suggestions for naming, just throw it in the review comments and then we can discuss next week.
Okay. Looks good.
Mhm.
Yeah, looks good to me too. It's awesome actually that you've done it all this stuff.
Mhm. Yes. Oh, another thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Here on line 324 to 333. I put a comment there because that was the error I was receiving without having those two operators there. Um, and I don't know if there's a different way to relieve that error. So if anybody has some time to look or play around, that would be great. Basically, so the implementation is that the node.gc env has its own pointer to the const environment, and the regular env has a operator to the regular NAPI env using a const cast. And it didn't like that without those operators. I don't know. So that's what I think that is the majority of all of the strangeness that I had to implement.
Yeah, but the reference to null PTR looks a little bit.
Right? I didn't know if that was what it was supposed to be, but
I think if you can just simply remove a constant ref, it should be fine. Like I
okay.
quite often in C++ we have student null PTR underscore T. So just using constant ref, not usual in this case. It actually just
It did
possible.
look funny to me too. I was just following the other one, but yeah, okay, I can remove that. And I think that's it.
Okay. Sounds good. So let's go back to pull requests. And so I think this one, and we probably should have, no, we should have talked about that one first, but
Yeah. Oops.
sorry. So
Yeah,
I guess I made a comment to just waiting for that to be addressed, right? So,
yes.
okay. Now,
I think that's a valid point. So it is
Yeah.
important to address.
hey, I think we talked about this one already, and I don't see any other new ones. I think this one maybe I think we can close this, right?
I think so too.
I think you already merged it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see any open PRs for Windows or Linux, so yeah, I think we're good. So that one, that's good. Okay, so yeah, I don't see anything there. And I'm gonna take you.
Yes, can we just
Actually, didn't go into details, but overall, it looks pretty cool change, actually.
Yeah, I
Pretty much.
guess the first question would be like breaking it up as suggested. Does that make sense to people?
I I mean, I haven't taken a look at this, but
Okay.
we have had a lot of, because I remember Cheng Zong also worked on some reorganization of documentation.
Yeah.
So it probably will make sense. Just have to.
Okay, yeah,
Cool.
people can take a
Yeah,
look.
cool. Yeah. Okay.
Um, right. So I see Shenzong commented that like, hey, they're not thread safe, but this one even I think we should deprecate because don't think we should have been giving the event loop back because it's implementation specific.
Right.
It's kind of like the one place we give something back, which is now implementation specific, and it's too late to remove it, but like we should probably at least deprecate it.
Do we know the like use case for why this was added?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think I might like we could move it to deprecate, and if anybody says, "Hey, wait a sec, what are you doing?" That might give us some feedback on the use case. I'm not proposing removing it anyway. It would just be like a warning. It would end up with a warning saying, "Hey, this is deprecated. You shouldn't be using it."
Yeah. I mean, I think just looking at this issue, it's because they're using this function in an invalid thread way. So I'm not exactly sure there should be anything that's done that should be done.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think Chenzong's sort of answered
Yeah.
with a, it's not working, but it reminded me of like, it'd be nice if it would be nice if it didn't exist.
Mhm.
So maybe deprecation. So unless somebody's like, no, let's not do that, I might submit a PR to deprecate it.
We probably need to look at the history when it was added and what was justification behind it.
I think I looked at it way back when, here, we can do that quickly. Yeah, no, I think it just managed source, although it's maybe a little hard.
I think they're speaking UV API is API safe, so technically I see why people wanted to do it. Like we have one set of API safe APIs, and like we have another API safe APIs. Let's have a bridge between them.
Sorry, say that again.
No, UV API is C-based API. I assume it's API safe.
There's no
So-
guarantee, like libuv doesn't guarantee they won't break things.
Oh,
They rarely change, but like there's no like in a new version, when we pull in a new version of libuv, it could break.
I see.
Mhm. I mean, we can also take a look at GitHub to see what code bases use this function to try to get a general understanding as well.
So let's function ref. Okay, now, so verify. So this one is like, picture doesn't help me. There we go.
Mhm.
You're just saying, go to GitHub. I just want GitHub. Okay, here.
I would probably go, if you go back to the other screen,
Mhm.
then on the left, you can click code,
Okay.
and then that'll give you, and then, we'd have to filter this through and sort of look at what is going on here.
Currently, it's
Some of
mostly
these,
implementations, right? Like
yeah, some of them are
Yeah.
implementations that we'd have to filter out versus code that's actually using the
Yeah.
functions.
I guess
But
my argument would be, even if it's used, we don't want people to use it because like it's big. So I'm not saying we remove it, right? Like not going to break anybody. Deprecating doesn't break anybody, but like really don't want anybody else to use it unless like let's make it as hard as possible to use it because it's something where it could be broken in the future, right? It's not it's helping it's like it's almost encouraging people to use code with Node API that is not ABI safe, which is not really what we want, I think. So that's my argument is like, it's I don't think we found somewhere anyway. But I think it's worth looking at the if I look at the source here, I'm gonna find searching it there. API, and we can do a blame. And this one, I'd almost just actually maybe I just want to go to history. Where's history? History. If I go to the very, very first one, uh, once.
it was apparently added in Node API version 2.
Right. So this is what was it called? libuv, right? It had no
Get UV event.
UV like this.
Get
Or
underscore. Yeah.
okay, so it wasn't in the very first one. Is there any way to match back to the
Mm.
what's your way to do this?
It was. I have the link here. Let
Okay.
me post it in the chat. That one.
Okay. So chat, perfect.
Interesting. This third paragraph that says, since calls into JS are impossible, that is not really the case anymore. Well, it must have been the case when this was created, and then it must have changed because finalizers did have access to the environment and could run JavaScript. And now we changed it back so that finalizers cannot run JavaScript, but we have the post finalizer. So,
I think
if
post finalizer kind of supersedes the need for this loop effectively, right?
I would
Some-
agree with you. So I think it gives it another reason
Okay.
why it could be deprecated, because we have better functionality that is ABI stable from Node API itself through the add post finalizer.
Okay.
Well,
So yeah, that's a
post
good.
finalizer, we can post any job effectively.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it sounds like we're convinced that it's worth deprecating, right? Like if we can do it a better way, again, we won't be breaking anybody, but we're discouraging its use. It sounds like we can say, like in the PR, like, and there should be a better and easier. The original motivation was to, do some JS inside of the NP finalizer function, which you can do today. So taking this out.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's good. I will submit a PR to do that.
And then I would like to discuss the third one then, the
Okay.
set name, because I did comment that I was not, for how we said like, oh, maybe this is a utility, kind of a helper utility, and then other engines would also have to implement this.
Yep.
But then, I mean, that was their response there, as increased code complexity. I don't know.
So what's your concern again?
I mean, I'm still not particularly convinced that we need to add this. The argument that additional performance cost and increased code complexity, if we do not have it, I'm not sure that's a really valid. I mean, maybe, yeah, because you have to make two calls instead of one, so it's a little more complex. But on the flip side, we would have to have all of the other engines implement this, which I'm not sure is the
Yeah, I think it
best.
was exactly the point we discussed. I'm not sure, maybe you not attending this meeting, but I think Gabriel and me, we've both like been on the same page about it as well. Like we totally
Right. So then if other people could chime in with how, then because right now I think I'm the only one
Right.
who specifically said we don't really need this.
Well, Gabriel said it actually. If you look at
Okay.
history,
I
he
can
said
say,
after this meeting we said, but technically we also discussed. We asked author to kind of change direction of this PR and rather kind of implement this additional function which takes care about this helper method, right? Which says name property. We ask maybe we can implement missing create property key, because currently we don't have property key created from UTF-16, and it would be nice to be able to create property key from UTF-8 in Latin 1.
Yes.
And
Because
ideally also from value, because technically a property key can be also a symbol, or it can be already kind of value, can be already an API value, right? So which encodes string. Like, so technically, I believe we must have 4 create property key functions. We already have 1, and this author created UTF-16 previously. So yeah.
so where I think that suggestion was made.
Just I think previous one. If you scroll a bit up, sorry, it's a bit more. It was from
This one.
Gabriel before.
Okay, sorry. Go up until I find one. Gabriel.
I think yeah, yeah, this one, yes. So we discussed it like 3 weeks ago, and Gabriel responded back.
And is that what this PR still does? Like, did it follow that suggestion, or is it?
I think yes, but I think author also asking like, should he completely remove with another API, and probably was not. Like I didn't check it last week. I saw them implementing UTF-8 support, create property key, which was great, but I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so
I didn't check
with
the latest status.
so our comment would be like if you agree, Kevin, B2 implement a suggestion in and only add the property functions.
Property
Yeah, I mean,
key
that,
creation functions.
The new
Yeah,
property key creation functions? Right.
I do see the benefit of adding the other UTF-8 and Latin 1 because we also have, create string equivalents for those. So for completion, I can see adding them to property keys, yes. But then that helper for name property with the length, I think that one is not really necessary then.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like it's just additional kind of loads on all these people who implemented like Dino, Ban, they all implemented Node API. Imagine like they have to implement all these helper functions. It brings no value. Property key creates a lot of value in my opinion because it gives you access to already kind of entry to hash table, and you can use it almost without any overhead. Always create additional properties with the same name again and again.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
Okay. Sounds good. And hopefully that's clear. So okay. Any others that we should discuss? This one I think we could close, right? Like we left on a little while to see things that were being fixed, but maybe there's
Well,
still
this
some 2 weeks
one,
ago.
yeah, I don't know if we want to close this after Gabe's PR is
Right. Okay. Okay.
because this one specifically does say Node add-on API.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, makes sense. Okay, we'll leave that. Any others we should discuss?
Nothing on my end.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, well, great. Thanks for everybody's time, and we will see everybody in GitHub and next week. Thanks.
Alrighty.
See ya.
Talk to y'all later. Bye.